Support for the local government news roundup comes from Rath Engineering Development, smarter systems for local government, like Red GMS, helping councils manage gravel pits and projects, track quality, test results, blending options and haulage, and know the true cost per tonne from day one. Rath Engineering Development can give you a one-off report that uses your existing pit data to pinpoint the best gravel sources for your next resheeting program or disaster restoration works, saving your council time and money. For local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience, talk to the team at Rath Engineering Development. Head to rathed.com.au to find out more. On the Roundup today, new allegations in the Hepburn Council court saga. Wyndham's mayor digs in further, a Knox councillor benched again, a red fleet cost win for New South Wales councils. Muswellbrook wants the Hunter transition paused. Flights suspended in Orange and the local mayor isn't happy. Gold Coast Council's wage battle heats up. A Tasmanian mayor calling out gutter politics, and new arrests in a UK council corruption probe. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy. That's all ahead on today's roundup of news from the Local Government News Roundup, brought to you with the support of our sponsors, the Victorian Local Governance Association, our founding sponsor, and the national broadcaster on all things local government. Plus support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences, and Rath Engineering Development, smarter local government systems, built from real on-the-ground experience. Thank you for listening wherever you are across Australia or around the world. Making news today in Victoria, the private prosecution against senior figures at Hepburn Shire Council has intensified, with new allegations raised in the Ballarat Magistrates Court last week. The Bendigo Advertiser and the Courier have reported that private prosecutor David Penman has lodged fresh charges against Chief Executive Bradley Thomas, accusing him of intercepting and blocking emails intended for elected councillors. The defence has strongly disputed the claims, labelling them as unfounded. The matter has been adjourned for a full hearing on the 5th of August. Councillor Don Henderson remains stood down from his position while the matter proceeds through the courts. Meanwhile, at Wyndham, where the stalemate centred on Mayor Preet Singh continues, Wyndham TV reported on the weekend that Councillor Singh is preparing a potential code of conduct complaint. The outlet obtained documents that it says show the Mayor has requested access to more than 50 items of internal council correspondence. Relating to the days after revelations, the Mayor provided a character reference for a convicted sex offender. The Mayor continues to deny any wrongdoing as protests and calls for him to step aside continue. At the City of Knox, Councillor Peter Lockwood has been handed a 1-month suspension for misconduct following an internal arbitration process. The sanction came into effect last Wednesday and follows allegations that Councillor Lockwood used abusive and intimidating language towards 2 colleagues during a mayoral election debate last November. It marks his second suspension this year, following a separate ruling in March over social media conduct. The Knox leader has reported the details. Stonnington City Council officers have recommended against a councillor-led alternative budget, labelling the proposal as not credible. The Better Plan budget, put forward by councillors Tom Humphries and Jamie Bell, has gained significant community backing, making up over 300 of the 440 public submissions received by the council. The Herald Sun reported that council officers have dismissed the plan due to questionable cost estimates and a lack of formal risk assessments. Councillors are expected to formally debate and vote on the official budget at its meeting today. The City of Greater Bendigo is preparing for a major capital works push, drafting a $97 million infrastructure program for the next financial year. Capital projects include the Bendigo Art Gallery redevelopment and critical road upgrades, partly funded by $7.3 million in new borrowings. The Bendigo Advertiser has more detail in today's edition. Also making news today, Shaman Tawari has been declared the new councillor for the City of Whittlesea's Thomastown ward. That by-election followed the resignation of Nick Brooks in January. Ms Tawari is currently overseas and will return to be officially sworn in on the 3rd of July. Mansfield Shire Council has reappointed its Chief Executive Officer Kirsten Alexander, signing her on for a further 4-year term. Mayor Councillor Steve Raby said the decision reflects the council's confidence in her leadership, while Ms Alexander said her focus would remain on strengthening ties between council and community as the Shire grows. And Kirsten will join me for a conversation on an upcoming episode of VLGA Connect. And Frankston City Council has confirmed the Brotherhood of St Lawrence will take over home and community care programs for younger people services from the 1st of July. Council says clients will be contacted directly to ensure a smooth transition, with support available for anyone wanting to consider other providers. New South Wales councils have secured a major fiscal victory, with the state government agreeing to take full ownership and financial responsibility for the Rural Fire Service Red Fleet from July 2027. Local government New South Wales welcomed the decision as a great relief for councils, ending a 30-year policy requiring them to absorb depreciation and maintenance costs for assets they do not control. The structural shift is expected to significantly improve local government balance sheets across the state. Tamworth Regional Council Mayor Russell Webb told the Northern Daily Leader that the council was over the moon that the sensible decision had been made. On Friday, the ICAC inquiry grilled sacked City of Parramatta Chief Executive Gail Connolly over a controversial organisational restructure. The inquiry heard Ms Connolly allegedly failed to inform elected councillors about more than $5 million in staff redundancies, recording them as resignations instead. Chief Commissioner John Hatzistegos questioned whether councillors were entitled to know where resources were being directed. Ms Connolly disagreed, citing concerns over reputational damage to the outgoing staff. The Daily Telegraph had all those details. Randwick and Waverley councils closed all eastern suburbs beaches for at least 24 hours over the weekend following a serious shark incident at Coogee Beach on Saturday. A woman has been in a critical condition in hospital after being bitten within the flagged area by what is believed to be a 3 to 4 metre shark. Randwick Mayor Dylan Parker praised council lifeguards and emergency services for their swift, extraordinary response to the emergency. Muswellbrook Shire Council is calling for an immediate halt to Hunter Region workforce transition planning, saying it's been shut out of key decisions by the federal government. The council says proper governance must be agreed with impacted councils before work continues on the Regional Workforce Transition Plan and Transition Fund. The Hunter Workforce Transition Advisory Group was set up to support communities ahead of major coal closures, including BHP's Mount Arthur mine in 2030, expected to directly cut about 2,400 local jobs. Muswellbrook Mayor Jeff Drayton says councils should be leading the transition on behalf of their communities, not treated as stakeholders. Rex Airlines has temporarily suspended flights between Orange and Sydney, raising concerns for regional travellers and local business. The Mayor of Orange, Tony Melito, told 7 News that the decision was, in his opinion, unacceptable. Rex Airlines has refuted his contention, though, that the cuts were due to aircraft availability and are more about challenging winter conditions at the council-run airport. Regional Cities New South Wales says reliable, affordable air services are essential infrastructure, supporting access to healthcare, education, tourism and investment, and it will continue to advocate for sustainable regional aviation links to keep communities connected and competitive. Bathurst Regional Council has announced the cancellation of 6 major community events, including the popular Bathurst Winter Festival, as part of an urgent financial recovery plan. Council management says systemic funding challenges and ongoing cost shifting have led to the cuts, expected to leave an $18 million gap in the local visitor economy, according to the Dubbo News. And Federation Council has secured a $7.8 million grant from the federal and state governments to upgrade its ageing water infrastructure in Howlong. Combined with a $2 million council contribution, the $9.8 million project will replace the existing water reservoir to nearly double its capacity to 7 megalitres. The Local Government News Roundup is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, which, in partnership with the Victorian Government, is delivering the 2026 Mary Rogers Awards. These awards for women in local government celebrate and acknowledge the significant contributions and achievements of women councillors. They also serve as a platform to promote and advocate for the advancement of gender equality and focus on supporting women's participation in local government and decision-making. This year, councillors and councils in Victoria have the opportunity to nominate across 4 award categories. Nominations are open now until Friday the 3rd of July at 5 p.m. Head to the VLGA website to find out more. Enterprise bargaining negotiations have stalled at the City of Gold Coast, with more than 1,000 indoor council workers facing a potential 14% pay cut. The Gold Coast Bulletin reported the dispute centres on a council proposal to remove the 10-day fortnight to standardise working hours. Management argues union claims would cost ratepayers $200 million annually, while the Services Union warns the cuts will severely impact staff retention. Queensland councils and farm groups are urging the federal government to reinstate a restocking allowance for flood-affected producers, warning its cancellation will slow recovery in regional communities. LGAQ says councils are facing a triple whammy of reduced support, including proposed changes to disaster recovery funding that would shift more costs to the state and councils. Industry leaders say the cuts leave communities more vulnerable ahead of future floods and cyclones. And Queensland's Audit Office has flagged a fresh weakness in Redland City Council procurement, according to the Redland Bayside News. It says the Audit Office has warned that poor monitoring of declared conflicts of interest could undermine confidence and damage reputations. Auditors found no evidence the council tracked compliance with a probity plan during a major 2023 tender involving an external specialist who declared a conflict. The council says it will tighten procedures, introduce a formal register and roll out a new probity plan by the 30th of September. In Tasmania, the CEO of Waratah Wynyard Council is moving on. The Advocate reported that Vanessa Adams will retire for personal reasons in August. Ms Adams has served as the council's CEO since February last year. Her arrival from Circular Head Council coincided with a title change, with the council dumping the General Manager title that was previously used for the organisation's most senior officer. Mayor Mary Dunningham told The Advocate the council would be focused on ensuring a stable transition with an interim chief to be appointed until a new council can commence recruitment for a permanent replacement. City of Clarence Mayor Brendan Blomley has confirmed he will recontest his position in October, despite an anonymous petition circulating by email calling for his resignation. The online campaign, which calls for a vote of no confidence ahead of the October council elections, accuses Mayor Blomley of code of conduct breaches. Chief Executive Ian Nelson has confirmed that the City of Clarence is not involved and no data breach has occurred, while many recipients are questioning how the anonymous campaign obtained their email addresses. Pulse Tasmania reported that Mayor Blomley has dismissed the petition as gutter politics, confirming he will recontest his position. And a proposal by Burnie Mayor Teeny Brumby to paint the Emu River Bridge bright yellow or aqua for the city's 2027 bicentenary has met resistance from residents and councillors, according to Pulse Tasmania. Deputy Mayor Giovanna Simpson has instead suggested a colour-changing light installation, pointing out that because the asset is owned by the Department of State Growth, Council's direct control is limited. The department will review the bridge's condition closer to the anniversary, though structural maintenance is unlikely before 2027. Let's go across to South Australia, where Adelaide Hills Council is taking a major swipe at the Tour Down Under's premier sponsor. This is according to The Advertiser. In a draft letter to Premier Peter Malinauskas, the council has deeply criticised fossil fuel giant Santos for holding the event's naming rights, comparing the partnership to unethical apartheid-era sponsorships. Mayor Nathan Daniel says the climate crisis jeopardises the race's future, urging the state government to seek alternative, sustainable sponsors. Santos has responded, highlighting its major carbon capture projects and ongoing commitment to South Australian events. Whyalla City Council is introducing entry fees for its iconic giant cuttlefish dive site to shift maintenance costs from local ratepayers to visitors, according to a report from the Advertiser. Following recent infrastructure upgrades, the council plans to charge cars $5 and commercial tour coaches up to $100. The council suggests the move will generate approximately $20,000 annually for ongoing operations. In Western Australia, Armidale Council is moving to lift rates by 4.8%, a rise it says will help cover surging costs for essentials like fuel, fertiliser and road materials. The increase is being advertised for public feedback after a close vote, with some councillors pushing for either 3% to ease pressure on households or as high as 5.5% to protect services. Perth Now reported that neighbouring councils have flagged higher rises, including Canning at 5.75, Gosnells at 5.5, Melville 5 and Coburn 6.75%. And postal voting is underway for extraordinary council elections in 4 Western Australian local government areas. Those of Brookton, Chittering, Coolgardie and Upper Gascoyne, with ballots due back by Thursday the 25th of June. These elections are to fill mid-term vacancies, with the winners to serve out the remainder of the original term. 2 other councils, the shires of Dowran and Merredin, won't be holding a vote after receiving no candidate nominations. Now, with thanks to Symphony 3, one of our supporting sponsors, bringing you simple, connected customer experiences, let's check out some overseas news. We'll go to the UK, where an ongoing corruption probe involving Leeds City Council has escalated. West Yorkshire Police have arrested 2 former members of the council's planning staff on suspicion of bribery, misconduct in a public office and money laundering. A council spokesperson confirmed to the BBC that no current employees are involved in the investigation, which has seen 14 people arrested to date. The complex inquiry is being led by the Economic Crime Unit. Bradford Council has launched a targeted campaign against antisocial firework use, specifically focusing on local wedding venues that permit excessive displays. BBC News reported the initiative, named Bang Out of Order, involves trading standards and calls for tighter national legislation, including lowering permitted noise limits. In the US, Lyft and Uber are suing New York City to block a new driver retention law that they say would make it harder to remove unsafe drivers, according to a report from CTV News. The companies argue the measure violates constitutional rights and could force them to keep or even reinstate drivers without just cause standards being met. The city says it's reviewing the cases, while council leaders defend the law as due process protection for drivers. That law is set to take effect in late July. With Washington DC's Democratic mayoral primary just days away, President Donald Trump says the federal government could take back control of the nation's capital if a progressive candidate wins. Mr. Trump spoke to reporters in the Oval Office, citing concerns about crime, homelessness and public safety in the city, according to USA Today. Washington votes on the 16th of June to choose a successor to outgoing Mayor Muriel Bowser. In Canada, the Mayor of Calgary, Jeremy Farkas, says he's preparing a motion to create a municipal lobbyist registry, aiming to track who's trying to influence decisions at City Hall. The push comes as an RCMP investigation into alleged corruption at City Hall continues, involving current and former councillors. Critics argue the registry could be premature and potentially redundant with existing disclosure rules, according to a report from CBC News. A new transit bylaw under consideration in Saskatoon could give police and transit staff expanded powers to address safety concerns and fare evasion. CTV News reports that the proposed framework would allow officers to fine, remove or ban riders for unacceptable behaviour following a drop of 1 million rides last year. Local authorities say the measures are designed to establish clear regulatory expectations on public transport, with a council vote scheduled for next month. And in New Zealand, Taranaki's mayors are demanding urgent changes to the government's proposed disability support laws. Mayoral Forum Chairman Craig Williamson told RNZ News that the changes will place an unfair, disproportionate burden on the region. Because Taranaki has a higher than average number of disabled residents and unpaid carers, leaders argue the local community simply cannot absorb the fallout. And Dunedin City Council has appointed former Hamilton City Council Chief Executive Richard Briggs as its next CEO. He'll replace Sandy Graham, whose term ends in October. The move marks a return to Dunedin for Briggs, where he previously lived and worked for Audit New Zealand. And that's today's latest from the Local Government News Roundup, edition number 596, recorded on Monday the 15th of June. You can find out more by heading to our website, lgnewsroundup.com. You'll find details on all of those stories, including links to the original stories where available. Our podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government. And we receive support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences, as well as Rath Engineering Development, smarter local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience. We record in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. Until our next edition, thanks for listening, and bye for now. Support for the Roundup comes from Symphony 3, allowing councils to connect their systems securely, to automate their data flows and to monitor performance in real time. And right now, councils are lining up for their own emergency dashboard, like the one that Symphony 3 has created for the city of Greater Bendigo. The dashboard helps keep the community safe and prepared before, during and after emergencies. It pulls together live data, including weather data, traffic data, emergency incidents, unplanned and planned disruptions, news and social media feeds. Visit www.symphony3.com to learn how you can get an emergency dashboard for your community.